in an effort to keep us learning something, we are going to go back to looking at the MIDI operations window and specifically quantizing. Now, all of us should know that quantizing is the process, the automated process of rounding your notes that have been performed, not so much drawn, but performed, and they might be off the grid, so these round to the nearest grid value that you choose. Because most of us are drawing in our notes, they tend to be on the grid. So what I want to focus on is actually trying to humanize our performances by using quantizing. So I have two of the same drum beat, sounds like this. Now what I've done already is I've made some adjustments to my velocities, so I've done that kind of humanizing. On this one, what I did just to make a point about showing you something is I've shortened all of the notes so that they are less than 16ths. Probably sounds the exact same, but I'm going to kind of look at this area here so you can preserve. So quantizing generally is thought of as the starting point of a note. Where is it going to start playing? But you can also adjust the note off value. And if I set this to 16ths and hit apply, it's going to take my notes that are shorter than 16ths and make them all consistently 16th notes. I'm also going to, because I had randomize on, I'm going to undo that because I have some things that were not default or were not set to default. So that gets me all of my notes to be 16th notes. Now for my hi-hats, I'm going to skip this area. I'm going to focus on these parameters that allow us to kind of humanize the feel. So I'm going to choose swing. I'm going to, they give you some weird options, I'm not going to lie. So I'm going to start by swinging it to 100% or 101, okay? But I'm going to preserve my note duration. And that you're going to get a heavy, heavy shuffle feel. Okay, nothing that I'm really digging, but that's what it is. If I undo that and I raise this, say, to 300, it's actually going to move. So swing affects the second and fourth, so all the evens, and it moves it back in time by a value. If you go 300, it's essentially going to take these 16th notes and hide it directly behind the 8th notes, so you're left with 8th notes. If you do something crazy like 250, you're going to essentially get a flam. Nothing that I'm looking to do. But if I choose a value of 20, then I'm going to get something that is not so dramatically shuffled, but gives me some feel. Okay, so even 20 for my feel on this drum beat, I think it's a bit much. So I'm going to do 10. Just gives it a little bit of bounce. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to swing my hi-hats. Strength would be something that if you wanted to preserve a general kind of performance, the relationship in between notes, that you could, add a percentage or choose a percentage, apply a percentage, and shift things over towards the grid value based on that percentage. Skipping that. Going to offset. So offset is a plus or minus, and again, the wide ranges start to do weird things. If I choose to offset by plus 10 or so, let's go to 21, very sensitive slider. Oops, I had my hi-hats selected. I'm going to choose my snare drums in this case. So going above 0 is going to move things to the right or make them feel just a little bit late, which is very groovy, for lack of a better term. For the music that I enjoy making, that this drum beat for me kind of comes out of, funk music, hip hop, that kind of thing. Being a little laid back in the groove is a good thing, and it adds to the feel. Let's see what that sounds like. Okay, it keeps doing that. I don't like when it does that. It closes my window. Let's say instead of that, and I'm going to come up here, undo quantize, undo. Okay, let's just move these back. If I offset to the negative value, come on, bro. It's going to move me forward. Okay, that's not my vibe. I like to be a little behind the beat for something like this. Now, maybe a combination thereof might be right. Let's take a look at our kick drums and let's try randomizing. So I could randomize by a large value and end up with this, which leads to being like too far off. Or I could randomize by something a little more subtle, 16. Let's see where that leaves us. Okay, so we can go off the grid. Don't feel that you need to stay there. In fact, I would suggest that you don't. But you still want to kind of make sure that things are accurate and work backwards from there, at least in my opinion, to kind of humanize a performance that you've already kind of put in overly perfected. Now, the include within exclude, that is something like look for notes that are more than 50% off of the 16th note and move them, that kind of thing. That's more for fixing. I would say swing, offset, randomize are for adding groove. One last thing that you can do, and I'm going to move back up to this one. I'll just select all. In the quantize grid area drop down, you can choose grooves that are kind of stolen or borrowed from other places or other DAWs. So for example, if I choose this Cubase 16th and 02, I don't know what that means exactly. It has some settings and I'm going to hit apply. That was pretty light. So I'm going to undo that and I'm going to put something a little bit more radical and see what happens. Okay, that's pretty cool. It does some swing, MPC style, 51% swing. That's going to be heavy, or not really at all. Let's see, maybe try another one. That's pretty cool. All right. In any case, try to humanize some drums.